So I just want to ask you, do you remember where you were on 9/11? I remember it crystal clear. I was actually driving to the airport with one of my good friends and fellow distributors, Dr. Neil Seacrest. He had been over here visiting with me for a couple of days. We'd climbed one of the mountains here in Utah, and we were driving up there, and my wife called and says, "You better turn on the radio, something's happened." Now, I think even the youngsters on this call can probably remember where they were when that day unfolded. And we think about it because there was such a tragic loss of life. About 3,000 people were killed as a result of that terrorist attack. It's significant, it's dramatic. There was trauma associated with it. But do you know that today, 3,000 people died of heart attacks and strokes in the United States alone? The number for the world is several times that amount. And yesterday, 3,000 people died in the United States from heart attacks and strokes. And tomorrow, 3,000 people will die from heart attacks and strokes in the United States. But we don't think about that the same as 9/11. We don't think about it unless it's someone close to us. We don't think about it because it's far removed. But what I want you to think about as you change the way you see this is your opportunity to literally change someone's life and save someone's life. Sam talked about our beginnings. Some of you that I've noticed on this call were there in those early days, and you can remember yourself. We had just one product. It was the original Biles Life. It didn't taste very good, and it was a little unsettling on the stomach, but it did work. And it came in this white tube, sort of a tall, skinny canister. It didn't come in fancy packets with good packaging. And I remember thinking to myself, I walked away from a Wall Street professional career, making a solid mid-six-figure income to sell this product. Why did I do it? Exactly what Sam told you. Because happiness comes from making a contribution. Happiness comes from doing something for someone else that really matters. When you have a vision that is so compelling and so authentic, it gives you superpowers, 3 specific superpowers. And I want to just sort of unfold those superpowers for you as we think about this in the context of my own experience. Now, when I'm leaving a prestigious profession and I'm going into a business where I'm working for myself in a network marketing company that obviously doesn't have the prestige associated with a Wall Street firm, I knew people were thinking negative things about me. I knew people were laughing a little bit about my transition in life. Some people even said that others were saying, Hughes is going through a midlife crisis. Can you believe it? He's out selling door-to-door vitamins or something. I remember all of those things being said and hearing that gossip and feeling the feelings that went with it. Also, feeling the fear that maybe I might not be successful. In fact, I remember when I resigned from my position in the investment world, they flew one of the big bosses out from New York, And I still remember this guy sitting on the other side of my desk in my office that I was soon going to leave. And he slammed his fist down on the table and he said, if you resign, you will never work on Wall Street again. And my heart was pounding inside of my chest, thinking to myself, what am I doing? What am I doing? But then I remembered the vision. Then I remembered the mission. Then I remembered the crusade. Then I remembered what was really going on. And I realized that I would be so much more happy doing something that really mattered, even if I didn't make as much money, even if I only made enough to survive. I would be happier. I would be more fulfilled. And so I went ahead with that decision. And I remember going around and trying to sell that product by showing people how it worked. And I started getting some great before and after results. I got one on myself. My cholesterol was over 200. I think it was 206, if I can remember the exact number. And after 6 weeks of using Biles Life, it went down to 147. Now that's a big deal because in the biggest study on heart disease ever conducted, in fact, it's still ongoing. They've studied thousands of people for now over 60 years. They found that they had never had anybody have a heart attack whose cholesterol was below 150. But every point of cholesterol, total cholesterol over 150, increased your chance of a heart attack by 2 percentage points. So do the math. At over 200, I was looking at 100% chance of having a heart attack someday. Now, back when we were doing this, we didn't have all the news and all the drugs and all the different things. That was still coming. But we had that data and we had that belief and we were seeing people's lives change. And it brought out the first superpower. And that is the power to overcome fear. The number one reason people don't fulfill their dreams, the number one reason that people don't achieve their goals is fear. They're afraid. They're afraid of so many things, afraid of failure, afraid of people mocking them, afraid of maybe having people disassociate themselves with them, and a million other fears. And those fears can just overwhelm a person, especially when they're tired, especially when they're alone and they're wondering, will I make it? But when you have a vision of something this big, and it's about serving others, it's about helping others, you stop thinking about yourself and you start thinking about how you can help. And in that moment, the fear just dispels. The fear just goes away. And now you become bulletproof. You don't care what people think. You don't care what people say. It doesn't matter to you because the mission is critical. The cause is worthy. The vision's big. Is there a bigger problem on the planet? Think about it. All we talk about in the news is this election or that war or this economic issue. But none of those things adds up to the human trauma and tragedy of cardiovascular disease, which incorporates not just heart disease, but diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, strokes. All of those things are incorporated in that. And when you get really, really serious with yourself, and you say, listen, I could turn off the news, I could turn off the Twitter feed, and just get serious about doing something for somebody, that fear goes away. And now you're free from carrying that backpack of fear everywhere you go. And it causes you to just get light. You feel light. You feel strong. You feel invincible. And so you're going out there. And I remember another thing that happened to me. I'd never done anything in this business before. I didn't know what this was all about. I still remember somebody in the business saying, "Hey, Hughes, I don't think you get it, do you?" And I said, "Get what?" He says, "You don't get this business, do you?" And I says, "Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't get it." And he went on to explain something to me that I didn't get. And I'm glad I didn't get it, because he was focused always on the money. He was focused on himself. And that's why he never really achieved the success that his considerable talent should have given him. The truth of it is, if we focus on the mission, if we focus on the vision, if we focus on solving other people's problems, if we focus on bringing happiness to other people, we become empowered not just with the superpower of getting rid of fear. We become empowered with the superpower of not needing special techniques. Oh, we want to be skillful at doing the business. We believe in that. But you don't have to be a super salesman if you have conviction about what you're doing. In fact, if you give me a choice between a person of deep and abiding conviction, but with zero experience, and another person who is just the ultimate salesperson, charismatic, full on, everybody just looks at him and thinks, what an amazing person, I will take the conviction person 100 times out of 100 times. It'll take me about that long to make the decision every time. Because conviction is power. But you can't have conviction without a cause. You've got to believe in something, and it can't just be how to make money. You've got to believe in what you're doing. And it was simple in those early days because we just had the one product. We didn't worry about all these different things. And we just stayed focused on that. Relentlessly focused. And it was only when we became successful that the danger came, the danger of distraction. Distracted by this and distracted by that. And that was about the time that a few of us got together and wrote a 200-page training manual. And that slowed us down because everybody started reading the training manual instead of thinking about, let's go solve some problems. Let's go help some people. Let's go bring down some cholesterol. Do you realize today that the 5 top selling drugs are still statin drugs? I mean, I was staggered by that 25 years ago, and it's still today. We hear about all the celebrity drugs, the Viagra, the Xanax, the whatever drugs out there, but those things are not even pimples on the face of the statin industry. We have still the only natural product proven and patented to reduce cholesterol. And we've got complementary products around that. You really can save lives. You really can keep a family together a little longer. Because the 3,000 people who died today, my friends, most of them didn't need to die today. That was little choices made over decades. And you could have been an intervention, perhaps in some of their lives. I could have been. As we begin to think about this, we realize that the fear's gone and the technique is not the big deal. The conviction is the big deal. Now, people have told me, they've said, oh, it's easy for you. Wow, people will listen to you. And you know why people would listen to me? I thought a lot about it. It's because I believed so deeply in what we were doing. Because that's the third superpower that comes with deep conviction in a cause. When you've got the blinders on and you are just so focused on doing one thing, helping other people in this particular challenge in life, when you have that kind of focus, you become magnetic. You become attractive. People want to be around you. People hunger for meaning. Sam talked about this. Viktor Frankl's talked about it. It's something that's deep and abiding in each of our human hearts. We long for meaning. We want to be a part of something that matters. And when we meet someone that's got that fire in the belly and got that sparkle in the eye, we want to be around them. We can't get enough of them because they inspire us with their conviction. Now, what is leadership really? We talk about leaders, we can define it a million ways, but I'll give you one definition. A leader is someone with a vision who invites someone else to join him or her on that path to that fulfillment of that vision. That's all. It's not managing somebody. It's not metrics. It's not all these different things. It's just inspiring someone to join you on the path to the vision that you are chasing. And when you have that, you are attractive. Now, I just want to conclude our conversations as we're winding up here. I know some of you have probably said, been there, done that. Yeah. And what iPhone do you have right now? The iPhone 12, the 11, the 10, the 9, the 8, the 7, the 6, the 5, the 4. You see, when something is out there, you just keep pounding at it until you solve it. I remember early. This will tell you how long ago it was, but we would prospect using those little audio cassettes. Now, some of you are so young, you've probably never seen an audio cassette. But I made an audio cassette presentation called Right Place, Right Time. And people used that. They'd hand it out to people, and people would listen to that in their car. And many times people would join up just from listening to that audio cassette, because they'd capture the sense of the power and the authenticity of the mission that we're on. And after a couple of years, people started saying, Stewart, do a different audio. That one's kind of old. And I says, well, it's not old to the guy that's never heard it. But that's the danger. Once you start getting successful, once you start having some success, you want the new thing. Well, what's the new thing? What's the new product? What's the new strategy? You know what? Stay focused. We have the biggest cause on the planet. Think about the cost. Think about the human cost. Think about the economic cost. Do you realize that in the United States and Canada, there will be spent $1 trillion this year on heart disease and all of its related issues and symptoms? $1 trillion. What is a trillion? 1,000 billion. What's 1% of $1 trillion? Do you think we could get 1% of that market? Do you think that 10,000 diamonds, a vision that I've had for years, is possible if we get 1% of $1 trillion market? Do you think that there are 1% of the people out there that are currently using statins that might like a natural solution? One that doesn't give them muscle aches and pains? Do you think that your efforts and your energy and your influence and your persuasion might help people to make some lifestyle changes so that they really could see literally a reversal in their heart disease, in their diabetes? I've seen it happen. I've played a little bit of a role in that, and it's given me such deep satisfaction, such deep psychic income. Sam talked about the millennials. And one thing that I know about the millennials, they don't want to do anything if they don't feel like it is significant. I must have been a millennial, just born 30 or so years too soon, because I didn't want to do it unless it was something that fit in my ideals. Did the money come? Yes, the money came. The money will always come. Solve enough problems and you'll never have to worry about money. Focus on money, you'll always have to worry about money. Focus on helping other people, it just comes. I want to just give you a little bit of a call to action. Do some research. Maybe even talk to some people that have recently lost a loved one due to one of the diseases that stem out of metabolic health. Go visit with them. Get a sense of it. You might just find the power to change your world forever. That's what happened to me. And I'll tell you, as I think back on that day that I signed that distributor application, it was August 15th, 1991. Some of you weren't even born. I signed that distributor application and I bought $4,000 worth of that product. And I'll tell you, it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. Because in the first 2 weeks, me and our little team sold $50,000 of that product. And in September, we sold over 200,000. And in October, we sold over 400,000. That wasn't being done by technique, and it wasn't being done about money. It was being done because we were lit up on fire with a cause. The same thing can happen for you. But you've got to have something inside of you that's deep and abiding, authentic and compelling, that literally gets you up early and keeps you up late, but puts a spring in your step and a sparkle in your eye, because it's not about you. It's about them. It's about serving. It's about serving others, helping others. And as you do that, you watch your business grow. You'll be shocked by it. I had this conversation last night with a group of top leaders in Thailand and about 1,000 leaders in Korea on 2 different calls. And it was fascinating for me to watch. Just watch the eyes lit up as they realized this is diamond true. This is diamond true. If you want to get out there and achieve all those goals, start helping other people solve really big problems in their life. I'm happy to be with you. I'm happy to be back at this. I'm excited for where we're going. You're going to see some really neat things as we refocus the company on this problem and this solution that we provide.